to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the Monday, December 2nd meeting of the Board of Aldermen. Our first order of business is additions and deletions to the agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions? Seeing none, we'll move the executive sessions to the end of the meeting. Next up is amendment and approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from November 18th?
So moved. Second.
Are there any corrections, revisions, changes needed to the minutes from November 18th? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next up is public comment, where members of the public are invited to address the board on matters not on tonight's agenda. Is there anyone from the public here who wishes to address the board? Don't see anyone. Once. All right. Move on to communications from the mayor. Mayor Dunges.
Thank you very much. First off, happy Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a nice holiday weekend. I had a great time at the holiday tree lighting. For those who couldn't make it on Friday night, it was absolutely incredible. I think it's the biggest tree I've ever seen there. I don't know, maybe some of you have a longer history and have seen a larger tree, but it's massive. And with that, I actually want to call out a quick thank you to the rec department, to our city foresters, to DPW, to the police department for getting the tree downtown, and then for the fire department for getting Santa downtown. It was a heck of an effort, and if any of you saw the clips online of moving that tree around and getting it stood up, it was a full effort. And in that thanks, there's this constant collaboration and work between our departments, and it is amazing to see all the time. And for them to step up for a simple event like this, put a smile on an awful lot of kids' faces on Friday night, and that was great to see. So thank you very much to all those teams. While I go through my report tonight, I'll ask the board to motion to untable the nomination for Chris Louras for Town Service Officer and circulate the ballot box.
So moved. Second.
All right, so we have a motion to untable the appointment of Chris Louras as Town Service Officer. It's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And will someone make a motion to circulate the ballot box?
So moved.
Second.
And we have a motion to circulate the ballot box. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Great, thank you very much. I need to ask the board, I've got a couple of motions here. The first one is I need to ask the board to pause, or give the treasurer permission to pause the JCI financing process. The city did not receive the MERP grant, and I'm going to give you some detail here. When we went into the MERP process from the very beginning, the standard for the MERP grant applicants and the people who are receiving it was the cities with the municipalities with the highest energy burden, and that energy burden is determined by basically the cost to heat and cool and a couple of other factors. That at the last minute, that metric, even though right up to the time we put in the application, that was still the chance, that metric changed. We don't know why. We are making requests to Buildings and General Services, which is the Vermont agency that managed the grant, to ask what happened and why that metric changed. But because of that, that definitely changes what we can do from an energy efficiency standpoint and a cost saving standpoint with the JCI contract. So we're going to have to sit down, do a review, figure out what projects within the contract we can and can't do without that MERP money, and then come back to the board with an addendum to the JCI contract to make sure that we're still in a cost savings mode but still can get some projects done. So with that, I'll ask the board to make a motion to permit the treasurer to pause financing for the JCI Energy Project.
So moved.
I'll move to suspend the rules.
Oh, sorry. Second.
Right, so we have a motion to suspend the rules. It's been seconded. Any debate? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And
I'll move to ask the treasurer to suspend the contract with JCI.
pause the financing.
Pause the financing with JCI.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to permit the treasurer to pause the financing for the JCI Energy Project. It's been seconded. Any debate? Alderman McCann.
Question for the mayor. I'm guessing you won't be able to answer this, but do you have any sense of like
when you might have the information to move forward?
So we had an internal meeting, I think it was the week before last week was Thanksgiving. We had an internal meeting to kind of go over the projects and have that discussion, talk about the MERP change. We're going to have another internal meeting next week, or it's either this week or next week, to review the projects that we want to prioritize in that list, department head wise and city management wise, and then bring that to JCI for them to restructure. So it's going to take a little bit of time, probably about 30 days, but hopefully, I want to go as quickly as possible through the process, and then we'll bring that back to the board for their approval.
Alderwoman Davis?
So what was the value of the grant?
The MERP grant was supposed to be $500,000. So it was a significant chunk, so it's going to be some significant changes. I do think what we'll find, what we've kind of pulled from the meetings so far is that there are projects that are going to have great value to the city, and some projects that we could probably put to another phase or do later on, and I think that's going to be what we determine through that process. So.
All right, so the motion is to permit the treasurer to pause the financing for the JCI Energy Project. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much. While we're making motions, I want to go over the IT Services contract. So several months ago, at this point, I requested that we open 2 RFPs. One was for IT Services, one was for website. I'm bringing you back the selected vendor for the IT Services. So this is for internal IT support at City Hall. We'll be coming back to you with the one for the website in the future as well. The one for the website, we've got many responses for this RFP. Hold on, I've got to get my glasses out. I apologize. For this RFP, we had about 15 responses. The key things that we focused on in evaluating the RFPs were the ability to service us locally. Our current vendor is up in Burlington. They have a drive. It's problematic. So the location, the service level agreement, how quickly they'll respond to us, the overall proposal, and then the price. Of the 15 or so responses, there were really only 3 in Vermont and local enough that we felt like they could service us and get to our needs. Most of the other proposals did hold a significant amount of remote work. And although we will appreciate remote work, sometimes it's necessary to have somebody on site to resolve issues. So that dropped it down to a list of 3, which were all 3 of which were in Vermont. Then we looked at the pricing and the proposals, and we found that there were really only 2 leaders. They were both in Rutland, and at the end of the day, from a pricing standpoint and an SLA standpoint, VTTSG ended up being the final selection from myself, Tyler, and Sarah when we went through that process. So what you have in front of you, what you should have in your board packet, is the proposal from VTTSG, and I would request that the board suspend the rules and make a motion to allow myself and the city attorney to enter final negotiations with VTTSG on the IT Services RFP, and we will bring you back the final contract for approval as well.
Motion to suspend the rules?
Second. All right, we have a motion to suspend the rules. It's been seconded. Any debate? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
And do you want me to read it again? Would that make it
Sure.
easier? Okay. So I request that the motion be made to allow myself and the city attorney to enter into final negotiations with VTTSG for the IT Services RFP.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to allow the mayor and city attorney to enter into final negotiations with Vermont Tech Solutions Group for IT services. Alderwoman Davis.
So, Mayor, could you tell us the difference in price, what Burlington is currently charging us and what this firm will be doing?
Sure. So the original price with Tech Group was about $85,000 a year. It's worked out to be closer to $97,000 with the services that they provide, but the base price is $85,000. That also included our email accounts and our web services from Google in that price, along with their security stuff. We won't know that final price until we go into contract negotiations with VTTSG to find out exactly what they're going to give us for discount pricing on those services. But their base price is $35,000 a year and I think it's $2,900 a month or around there plus we have to adapt for some of the devices. So it is going to be less expensive for us to go with this agency versus Tech Group, what we pay for Tech Group. One of those savings isn't highlighted in the proposal. It will be found in the cost savings from not spending $140 at each direction when people were coming down from Burlington. So just having them local saves us about $300 a trip. So that's going to be a big benefit right there.
Thank you.
Alderman McCann?
Is there much in the way of difference between the service that they actually provide that we?
It's a great question. There are some change in services. The main thing for us, both with Tech Group and with this one, is going to be security services. So spam filtering, making sure there's monitoring. So those base services will stay the same. One thing we may be looking at in that final contract negotiation is a migration service from Google Cloud to Microsoft Cloud. Almost everybody here uses Outlook already. That's the tool that they use, and we're almost paying for double licensing when we pay for Google and for Microsoft. So if we can merge that into one, we actually may be able to find some additional efficiencies there as well, but that'll be determined when we make that final negotiation with them.
Additional questions from the board? So the motion on the floor is to allow the mayor and the city attorney to enter into final negotiations with Vermont Tech Solutions Group for IT services. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Oh.
Motion passes.
Okay, great, thank you very much. So next on the list.
I'll just interrupt you for a
Yeah,
moment if I
that'd be
can. The nomination of Chris Louras for Town Service Officer passes 8-2.
Great, thank you very much. All right. I have one more motion I'd like you guys to make. So the capital improvement plan, we've been discussing how that's going to play into the future of how we do some projects in the city, and that plan has been working in committee. We've got our grading almost done. So I would request that the board, you can make it as two motions or as one, refer the capital improvement plan to both the Planning Commission and the Committee of the Whole.
So moved. Second.
All right, so we have a motion to refer the capital improvement plan to the Planning Commission and the Committee of the Whole. It's been seconded. Any debate on the referral? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Fantastic, thank you. So we have begun our budget meetings. I think at the last board meeting, I invited people, our citizens, to come out and sit and listen and have some of these conversations with us. I still continue that encouragement. I think it's really important that the public participate in these meetings at this level. Also, internally, I think you may remember that my ask as mayor is I've given you options in the budget, and our goal is to get that budget under 4% to the voters. In order to do that, the treasurer and I have been having some conversations, and one of the suggestions that was made was that we ask our department heads to come back with another 1% in everybody's budget to try to find another 1%. Put that request out. That is a good start. I know we got some more work to do beyond that, but we're working on that. And so I've asked those department heads to bring that 1%, those 1%, or a minimum of 1% to the meetings. I've already had at least one department head bring me more than 1%, which is great. So we hope to continue through that process to continue to find a few places to trim and cut internally.
And you'll
Alderwoman
update
Davis.
us as we have our committee meetings as to the changes that have already occurred pre our discussion.
Yeah, so I'm asking them to bring it to the committee meeting so we can discuss it in committee rather than be because otherwise I think it'd be confusing if we made more cuts without those committee meetings. So,
Alderman Heck?
Mike, do you have a rough idea of just COLA and, let's call it, healthcare cost, what that percentage of increase would be for this budget?
yeah, so overall, the majority that line up is if you look at any of our budgets, that's almost 50% of most of the bigger budgets, and then it can be closer to 70 to 80% of some of the smaller budgets. But when you look at the overall, the overall cost averages out to be, I believe it's like 47%. I don't have that number in front of me, but I can look that up and get you the answer. But I believe that 47% is COLA and salaries at least.
Would you say roughly 3% of the budget is related to those two specific items?
The increases themselves?
Correct.
Yeah, the 3% of the 3% of the increase would be tied to that piece at least. I can get you the accurate number though. I will get you the the spot-on percentage that increase is tied to.
Any additional questions?
Great, all right. Thank you for that. I want to make a quick comment. You know, we've had more graffiti and vandalism in the city again this week. It's getting really irritating. Not that it hasn't been irritating in the past, don't get me wrong. But, you know, when we have these amazing marble sculptures and they're just desecrated with graffiti, it's unacceptable at any level. We as a community need to be better, in all honesty, and that includes the people doing this. It's just unacceptable, and I don't know if this is, you know, parents talk to your kids about respect. I don't know if this is teenagers pay attention to what your impacts have. I don't know if this is adults, you know, with nothing better to do, just making poor choices. I don't know where this is coming from, and we're constantly looking at how to prevent this at a city level. But listen, this is our community, and the way we make it look is what not only the impression that we have internally, but the impression that we give others. So we can make it look good or we can make it look bad. And quite frankly, I'm not on the side of making it look bad or at all. I think there is definitely an aspect to things like this where an outlet for art, like the murals that we have in our city, is very welcome. But basically spray painting on a statue that somebody else's art and defacing someone else's art is unacceptable. And I'm just having a real hard time with that personally, and I'm sure you all are as well. I don't know what we can do, but we're working in our community. You know, our DPW is working on cleaning it up along with the rec. Police do a good job of identifying it. I've got citizens that have donated graffiti sealant so that we can quickly wash things off. But it's something we're going to have to continue to pay attention to, and I'm not happy about it. With that, though, we are asking the community to come out and to continue to have the public safety conversation with us. The police department has begun doing its quarterly sector meetings again. There was one tonight. At the downtown sector was this evening at the Methodist Church. The next few are coming up. Hold on, I got both pages here. I want to make sure I get them. So the next one is going to be on the 4th, and it is during our committee meeting, but is the Southeast sector from 6 to 7:30. The one after that is on the 9th. That's the Northeast sector from 6:30 to 8 at the Godnick Center. Sorry, the first one's at the Comfort Inn, the Godnick Center. The 10th is at the Rec Center from 6:30 to 8, and the 11th is at Last Cup from 5 to 6:30. I will post all of these on the website. I believe they're actually on the website already, but we'll post them on Facebook as well. That's your opportunity to come out and have the public safety conversation directly with our officers and our teams, and I'm going to try to make the ones where we don't have a committee meeting, and I would ask that the board.
Unfortunately, there's only one that we don't have a committee meeting.
Right.
Our budget meeting that night.
It's a very busy time of year, and you know, I know that the board has tried to get to these in the past as well, and Chief will be doing them again, so we'll have other opportunities, but do ask the public to come and give their feedback and listen and have that conversation. Quick update, we did have a meeting today on some of the homeless transition scattered site sheltering. So we've tried to find some ways without a physical place or a agency to run things to try to get some people housed in places other than hotels, looking at scattered site apartments with services around it. Continues to be an ongoing conversation. I'll give everybody an update when we get a little further along with that. Again, the focus is still very much on families and elderly with disabilities. Quick update on a different kind of hotel, the downtown hotel. The Beldens presented their tax stabilization and water rate requests to the RRA. There's going to be a follow-up meeting with the RRA and our CED meeting back-to-back on 2 different days. So a lot of information going around, a lot to consider there. We'll try to have at the CED meeting as much of an update as possible from the RRA as well at that time. World Cup was in Killington this weekend, and I had a couple of people giving me feedback saying, hey, we didn't do anything to bring people to our city. And I have to say that there was a huge impact in Rutland over World Cup weekend. We saw our restaurants full. We saw people shopping in our small business Saturday in downtown over the weekend. I'm very happy with that. However, I do happen to agree that it would be a phenomenal thing for us to do next year, is to do some direct promotion for Rutland City in Killington while we're there. And not that we wouldn't have wanted to do it this year, but we don't have a marketing budget at the city. So I'm going to be looking to our partners, the ones that we work with on a pretty regular basis, to say, what can we do together to have a booth or a tent to market our community in Killington during the World Cup? Because these people come year after year to our region, and they come through our city. A lot of them drive through our city, and a lot of them do spend time here. And I think it would be phenomenal to have a direct connection to that community while they're here. A couple more quick notes. I'm almost done. I know it's a long one. I met with Vermont Housing Conservation Board today. I was invited to speak on housing and Rutland's initiatives. Rutland is getting a lot of attention as we are moving the housing message forward throughout the state, and it's a very positive thing. It was a great discussion. Mary Cohen presented on affordable housing. I talked about the broader housing spectrum and what's going on in our city. And that conversation connected directly to a conversation that I had with a developer in the city this week who wants to come to Rutland, sees what we are doing, and wants to find ways to invest. So we are having active conversations with active developers. And I want to go over something that happened about 2 months ago, a little less than 2 months ago. We announced Roofs Over Rutland. I think you remember me mentioning it here in the meeting. It was $8 million that we were bringing low-interest loans to the city to develop some housing in the area. I want to talk about where we're at with that right now, because I think it speaks volumes to the demand on both sides of the housing coin, the demand for housing and the need for it, and the demand for housing and get it done. So far, out of the Roofs for Rutland applications, there are 4 large projects, so that's for the $5 million, and 6 small projects that have been applied for in Roofs Over Rutland, totaling over $3.675 million on the large project side and $570,000 on the small project side. So we are over 50% applied for out of the $8 million so far for Roofs Over Rutland. Those projects in the large project side will equate to 27 new units in Rutland, and the small project side will equate to approximately 12 new units. So for that's 39 new units in Rutland. We've got loan applications in place at Heritage Family Credit Union going for that money. That leaves us essentially $2.4 million for small projects and $1.3 million for large projects, and applications still come in every week. So if you are a developer that is waiting in the wings like these developers were, and you have a project that you need to get done, and you're thinking, hey, this is a good idea, you better get your application in soon because this is going to run out fast. Now that's a great thing for our city. It's a development in our city of what we're looking at is, like I said, over almost 40 units now, and it'll probably be over 60 by the time we're done. For new units in Rutland at a rate that is far less than what those affordable housing units cost. And these are market rate units, and that's because you don't have those federal regulations and requirements. So in less than 2 months, we have applications for more than 50%, and the demand is real. And the demand on both sides is real, and we're really excited to see that. We are working on making this, myself and this board are working on making Rutland the most developable city in the state of Vermont. With the regulations that have changed, with the motions and the things that we have put in place, we are becoming a place where people want to develop and grow, and we're capable of doing that, and we can sustain that, and I'm really excited about it. So thank you for all of your efforts and support in this process, and that's it for me tonight. Have a good night.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to consideration of special event permit requests. We have a request for a permit for Cold Roll Rutland to be held at Pine Hill Park on Sunday, March 2nd. A copy of the application is in your packet, and I believe Shelley Lutz is here to speak to the permit application. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Shelley Lutz, Pine Hill Partnership. We do all the trail maintenance up in Pine Hill Park and rely on a lot of volunteers and a lot of funding from outside sources, so we appreciate that. Cold Roll Rutland, we moved to early March this year. There was a conflict with another organization that had to cancel their event last year, and they could only go on Super Bowl Sunday, so we were asked to move, so we're like, okay, maybe we'll have snow this year. Hey, it's worked, you know. It's better than being 20 below zero. So anyway, I'm here just to see if there's questions, follow up. Tracy was nice enough to call me this afternoon saying, hey, you're on the agenda for tonight. So here I am real quick and won't take up your time. And, you know, if you guys have questions but better yet, I would love to see all you people come to Pine Hill Park on March 2nd. That's what I'd like to see.
Drink some beer.
So,
Alderwoman Taddeo?
Thank you for your work for our community, and I would make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to suspend the rules and take the matter up. It's been seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And I would make a motion to approve the special event permit for Cold Roll Rutland on March 2nd, 2025, from 8 a.m. till 3 p.m. in Pine Hill Park.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to approve the permit. It's been seconded. Any discussion or debate? Alderman McCann.
Can you remind me how many years you've been doing this and what sort of crowds you get?
this is our 4th year, and anywhere from 120 to 150 people from all over. I mean, we're talking Canada, New York, New Jersey, basically all in New England. And I think one year we actually had somebody from like the Midwest that was visiting family members or something. So there's rental bikes, there's a lot of vendors that come. It's pretty cool to see. You can see 150 people all in one concentrated area. And of course, when there's a little bit of alcohol and beer and bikes, which all seem to be synonymous with one another, it seems to draw a crowd. And people are looking for stuff to do in the wintertime. The MTB Vermont and Ranch Camp, who really are the movers and shakers, they're the ones that provide all the other, the food and the beer and all of that. They run 4 other events during the winter, and all of them have like 150 people, irregardless if it's 20 below zero. And of course having a fire pit helps. Thank you, Chief, for letting us have a fire pit.
I don't think it's about dry weather then.
Alderman Heck?
Shelley, it was funny, when you were talking about bikes and beer, I thought you were going to say that equals Band-Aids as far as that
When there's
goes.
snow, you don't need Band-Aids.
Couple, stay away from the trees. I have a lot of friends that participate in that. It's been a great event, and we just want to thank you for your due diligence and what you do for the park itself.
Yeah, thank you. It's not just me, folks. I'm the one that shows up here, but it's not just me. There's a lot of us, so anyway.
All right,
Any other questions?
so we have a motion to approve the permit. It's been seconded. Seeing nothing further, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, everyone.
Next up is reports and letters from department heads and officials. First up is Barbara Spaulding from the Rutland Redevelopment Authority with a recommendation to approve a business incentive assistance plan for a givable loan. You'll find a memo and the copy of the loan application in your packet.
Good evening. Tracy Rose is applying for a $10,000 buyout forgivable loan to expand her successful food truck business into a brick-and-mortar restaurant at 131 Woodstock Avenue in Rutland. She has operated the food truck for 5 years and recently negotiated with the owners at 131 Woodstock Avenue to take over the lease from Restoration Barbecue, the previous tenant. The buyout funds will be used in conjunction with other funding to purchase the necessary equipment and for construction needed to open the restaurant. The application meets the criteria through making tangible new financial investment of $10,000 or more. And the RRA board moved on November 26th to recommend to the Aldermen approval of the $10,000 buyout forgivable loan to Townline Grill and Bakery. Tracy is here this evening to answer any questions that you might have.
Good evening.
Alderwoman Taddeo?
Motion to suspend the rules.
All right, we have a motion to suspend the rules. Any discussion or debate? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And I move to approve the $10,000 buyout forgivable loan to Townline Grill and Bakery.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to approve. It's been seconded. Alderman Heck?
Did you bring any cookies?
I didn't, but I should have.
We'll forgive you this
You can
time.
table this till she comes back.
Alderwoman McClure?
I would just like to know more. I know that your previous location was on the town line. What inspired the move to Woodstock Avenue and moving deeper into Rutland City proper?
I
had wanted a restaurant, but you have to start somewhere. So I went with a food truck and just kept building. And at Restoration Barbecue, he was a friend. He was planning to further his family, and he came to me and was like, hey, my lease is coming up. What are your thoughts? And I'm like, let's do it. So here I am.
Amazing, thank you.
Yeah.
Alderman McCann?
Thanks. It's exciting to see somebody go from a food truck to a brick and mortar, but I'm curious if you're going to keep the food truck and run both.
Absolutely.
Nice.
I'm already 12 events this year coming up, already booked.
Great.
So, yeah,
Great.
it's a keeper.
Seeing nothing further, we have a motion to approve the buy-app forgivable loan to Townline Grill and Bakery. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Clerk Kapusta with a request related to the 2025 meeting schedule for the Board of Aldermen.
So in accordance with the city holiday schedule for 2025, I would request to move the Board of Aldermen meetings that fall on a Monday holiday be moved to Tuesday. So January 20th would be moved to January 21st, February 17th to February 18th, and September 1st to September 2nd.
Alderman McCann.
Motion to suspend the rules?
Second.
All right, we have a motion to suspend the rules and take the matter up. It's been seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And I would move that we adjust the dates for the January 20th, February 17th, and September 1st Board of Aldermen meetings to the subsequent Tuesday for each of those dates.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to move those dates. It's been seconded. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. The clerk is up again with a request related to the Department of Liquor licenses and Rutland City licenses for 2025.
I'm asking the board to authorize the clerk to sign all Department of Liquor Control licenses for first, second, and third class licenses for 2025. And I'm also requesting to be authorized to sign all outside consumption and entertainment permits.
Motion to suspend the rules?
Second.
All right, we have a motion to suspend the rules. It's been seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And if the clerk would read the language again.
So the motion would be to authorize the clerk to sign all Department of Liquor Control licenses for first, second, and third class licenses for 2025, and authorize the clerk to sign all outside consumption and entertainment permits.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion. It's been seconded. Any discussion or debate on that motion? Alderman Gillum.
So you're going to bring new ones to us? If there's a new licensee coming in?
Yeah, I can do
Does
that.
come to us? Okay.
Do you want them?
Yeah.
First time?
First time has
First
to
time.
come here, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Alderwoman McClure.
I was just wondering if there was a historical precedent for that. In my time on the board, we've had a couple of restaurants that serve alcohol open. Does that mean like a bar is a different sort of liquor license that someone would have to receive?
No, it's about the same.
It's all the same? Okay. Thank you.
Any additional discussion or debate? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next up is the Attorney LaChance with a request related to the new municipal ethics law. You should have received a memo in your email and I believe placed on your desk.
Yes, thank you. So I sent out this memo, just sort of an update. Please take the time to read through it. The legislature during their last session approved some new acts and statutes related to municipal ethics. It does change things a little bit. All municipal officers and department heads will be required to undergo ethics training hosted by the state every couple of years or whenever you're reelected. So that's all contained in the memo. I was going to request, because part of the state's legislation requires municipalities to have an enforcement code or a way of enforcing ethics within the municipality, and also to appoint someone to the ethics board and to be able to receive reports here in the city. And I would like to move discussion of those matters to the Charter and Ordinance Committee.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to refer this municipal ethics law to, or municipal ethics code, is that correct?
Yeah.
To the Charter and Ordinance Committee. It's been seconded. Alderman Gillum?
So is this going to be a charter change or strictly an ordinance change?
This should be strictly an ordinance change in regards to procedure and how we enforce the ethics. As far as I'm aware, although I will double check and that can be part of the discussion, I don't believe it conflicts with anything in our current charter. It's just the state legislation. We need to make sure we have the code enforcement behind it.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion on the referral to charter and ordinance? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Reports of standing committees, we have none. Reports of select committees, we have none. Reports of representatives, we have none. Petitions, letters, miscellaneous communications, we have none. There's nothing on the Board of Control Commissioners' agenda, nothing on the Board of Cannabis Commissioners' agenda. Is there any unfinished business?
Not sure this is unfinished business, but
Go for it.
I have an issue that I warned a meeting and it came out for the Public Works Committee for 5:30, and I wanted 6:30 so some members could be there for the full meeting, because we had a lot to do in that committee. And I'm requesting, do we go back to 6:30 so the members could be there?
I mean, it's up to you and up to the board.
I would request that.
We had members request that it stay at 5:30 because they have scheduled things later in the evening, anticipating that committee meetings are at 5:30. So I don't think,
It's up to the chair.
Well, I'm doing 6:30 because committee members need to be there to get
Okay.
a quorum.
then that's up to you to rewarn the meeting.
That's what I'm requesting.
This is your upcoming Monday meeting.
Yeah, Monday the 9th.
Miscellaneous motions, resolutions, new business. Seeing none, we have executive sessions. Attorney LaChance, will you read us the first motion?
Yes. So first up for the executive sessions, I'm looking for a motion to find that premature general public knowledge regarding the negotiation of a labor relations agreement, specifically the proposed Department of Public Works union contract, would clearly place the city at a substantial disadvantage because the discussion will divulge the board's position on the agreement provisions to be negotiated.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Then I would look for a motion to enter into executive session with the inclusion of the mayor, DPW commissioner, treasurer, clerk, director of human resources, the legal extern, and the city attorney to discuss the labor relations agreement as allowed under Title I, Section 313A1B.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.